Hi everybody, my name is Stephanie and welcome to my channel. This is my very first video, so I'm a little nervous. But I had meant to do this earlier this week, but that Idaho 4 case got me all wrapped up in the news and I didn't get anything done until today. So happy new year, happy 2023. I am typically way more comfortable being behind the camera instead of in front of it. But my goal for this year is to try and show myself more and to show more cooking stuff. So today we are going to make a Hoppin John, which is a black-eyed pea dish that has collard greens and some pork. So it's a traditional New Year's meal. It's supposed to bring good luck and prosperity throughout the new year. And then I'm also going to do some jalapeno cheddar cornbread. And I'm gonna show you how to make both of those things too. So without further ado, let's get into it. Stella, do you wanna say hi? Say hi, Stella. Let's get to cooking. Do you want some cornbread? Okay, let's get cooking. Okay, so to start for our Hoppin John, the first thing that we are going to do is add butter to our large stock pot. And once that gets melted, we are gonna go in and add our onion and celery. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the onion and the celery. I'm also going to go ahead and add in the peppers. I have the poblano pepper and the jalapenos. I ribbed and de-seeded them and finely diced them. If you like heat, you can always up the amount of peppers, or you can leave some of the seeds in, or if you don't like spice at all, you can always add in sweet peppers as well. And we're just gonna go ahead and let this cook down. It's going to cook for probably 5 to 7 minutes, just so that we can make sure and get that celery cooked down where it's soft. And then we're gonna go in with the garlic. Okay, now we've got everything starting to soften down. So I'm gonna go in and add my garlic. I did 3 cloves, finely minced. You're just gonna go in and stir that in and cook it until it becomes fragrant, which usually, depending on your heat setting, which I have mine on like a medium high, can take about 20 to 30 seconds. So we're just gonna do that. You wanna be careful to not let your garlic burn, because then it can turn kind of bitter. So next we're gonna go in with our collard greens. So I went ahead and rinsed mine, and then I julienned it, or basically just cut it into ribbons. I'm probably using a little bit more than what my recipe says because I really like collard greens, so I added extra. Just gonna go ahead and get that in there. I'm gonna start to saute that so that it begins to wilt down. It already smells so good. Okay, you can already see that it is beginning to cook down and soften, and that took maybe a minute or two. Doesn't take very long at all. So now what we are going to do is add in our seasoning. I'm a big fan of Tony Chachere's, so you can just do this according to your tastes on how much you like spice, or how tolerant you are to it. This has a lot of salt in it, so you definitely need to wait until the very end to see if you need to add any extra salt, because you probably will not need to. I'm going to do just a little bit more for good measure, and then I'm also going to add in some smoked paprika. Okay, give that a good little zhuzh around. Okay, now we are going to add in our smoked ham hocks. And then we are going to add our water. That was about 2 cups right there, and I think I'm going to add 2 more. Hang tight. Okay, and 2 more cups of water. I'm going to increase the temp on here up a little bit more, and oh my gosh, that Tony's is gonna make me sneeze. I brought the heat up to high on this so that I can get it to a simmer, low boil, and then I'm gonna go in and add my black-eyed peas. I used dried black-eyed peas, so overnight I soaked them in about 8 cups of cold water, and then I drained and rinsed them. So it's going to take a little bit longer for them to cook than if you were to use canned black-eyed peas. If you were to use canned black-eyed peas, you would close this right now and let this simmer and cook for a little bit, and then add the black-eyed peas toward the end. Okay, now you can see that we are starting to come to a simmer. I had to go in the other room and sneeze for about 5 minutes after pouring that Tony Chachere's. So be warned that it can make you sneeze a lot. So now that we are coming up to a simmer, I'm going to go ahead and slowly add in these black-eyed peas. I'm doing a very large batch because I'm making it for some of my friends as well as myself. So this is obviously probably not as many as you would use if you were just making this for your family for, you know, a serving of 4. This is definitely way more than that. Okay, we are going to let that come to a boil, and then we are going to cover it and we are going to let it cook until the black-eyed peas are fork tender. For reference, I used a 1-pound bag of black-eyed peas that were dried, and I'm making this for roughly around 10 people, plus I like to have a little bit of leftovers. So if you were making it for less people, you definitely can scale down on the water and the black-eyed peas. But now that we have got this starting to simmer, we're going to go ahead and cover it, and we're going to check on it periodically, probably every 15-ish minutes, and give it a good stir just to make sure that nothing's getting stuck to the bottom. So this has been simmering for about an hour and 20 minutes, and you can see that our black-eyed peas are fork tender, and they're just going to continue to cook as this, I mean, especially with an enamel pot like this, it's going to continue to cook even after you turn the heat off. And you can see that there are little bits from the smoked ham hock that have fallen off. There's usually not a whole lot of meat on these, but what little bit of meat there is typically will start to kind of fall off of the bone as it's cooking. And what I like to do to finish it is I like to add some cooked bacon that I've crumbled, And you could totally just add this as a topping. You could do both. Nobody's trying to tell you what to do with your bacon. This is just what I like to do. So I've crumbled that bacon, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in and give it a good stir. I'm gonna let it cool slightly, and then I'm gonna give it a taste and see if we need any more Cajun seasoning, if we need some smoked paprika, and then we'll plate it up and serve it over some rice. You can also see that it thickened up quite a bit. That is something that happens whenever you're gonna be cooking the beans. If you want it to be thicker, you can always mash some of your beans and put them back in. That will always help thicken it up without having to add in any flour or cornstarch or anything like that. But I kind of like the consistency of having a little bit of broth because I serve it with cornbread, and I kind of like to dip my cornbread in there.
Okay, now our Hoppin' John is done, and I went ahead and just made my rice according to the package instructions. I rinsed it, and then I brought water up to a boil, and I used my last ham hock that I had. I added that in, and a little bit of salt, and then added my rice in and just cooked it according to the package directions. So now I'm gonna get everything plated. So I've got my rice down on a plate, and then I'm gonna get my Hoppin' John on there and some cornbread, and then I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like, and then we're ready to eat. I probably could have done a better job plating this, but I'm really hungry and I wanted to get it into my mouth as soon as possible. So here we go. We've got our Hoppin' John and our rice and our jalapeno cheddar cornbread. So we have multiple good luck foods, so we are ready to dig in. Happy 2023.